coach says it's going to take some time. That also will, play a little bit of a role here down the stretch. And every team is dealing with this. But Brady, back to Mike Macdonald. Has there ever been a moment as you've covered him and covered these games and covered these situations where you've ever felt like the game has just sped up on him?
I mean, really, the only sort of blunder, if you will, kind of game management blunder was, I believe it was the game at San Francisco last year where wasn't there a situation where they tried to call back-to-back timeouts, which you can't do that. And I believe they got away with it. The NFL did not give them that second timeout. So, I mean, but you're talking about one decision in thousands of in-game management decisions over the course of almost 2 full seasons. And so, and using the timeouts when he did, in the game before, he just, and he will tell you that, look, there's some guys to help him out with that. Brian Ayers, you constantly hear him shout out Brian Ayers, who's one of his guys in the booth who helps him out with replay situations, helps him out with some of those game management decisions, when to use the timeouts, when not to. So Brian Ayers is a part of that, but Macdonald has done a fantastic job.
You know what I think the word is, Brady, when it comes to, and Rich was talking about many of the other coaches around the league, and he talked about Mike's ability to really coach any position, and that's a big deal, and I'll get to that in a second. But I think an even bigger deal, and why the bust rate for NFL head coaches is somewhat similar to the bust rate of NFL first-round quarterbacks, because it is nearly impossible to put them in an evaluation standpoint to evaluate their processing, to evaluate just how well they process and how quickly they multitask and do all of those things. You heard Rich talk about the warning label that needs to be on these rookie quarterbacks, from protections to coverages to all the things that they need to handle, and how overwhelmed they often look and feel over the course of their rookie season. And then if they can do it long enough and weather those storms, the game will hopefully slow down for them. I think you find a lot of coaches that you just look at young coaches and all that they've got to process, Brady: personnel, management, media, players, game plans, in-game decisions. It is an immense amount of processing. And I think that is what has continued to really impress me about this young, still unbelievably young head coach of Mike Macdonald, is his ability to process. And you feel it when you talk to him.
Yeah.
Right? When you ask him questions, you can immediately, when we sit there the day after games with him, and you can see him almost, right? Like, okay, here's a question. How do I process this to make sure my messaging for my team is exactly the way that I want to message this thing? And, he just is, frankly, a step ahead of his peers. He's a McVay. And that's why it's going to be incredible in this division. And just the intensity that those two guys have to go at it, from an offensive-minded, really, direction that the Rams have, a defensive-minded, but both guys who, as Rich Gannon said, understand the complexity of the whole team.
Yeah.
I think Mike Macdonald could go in the QB room, Brady, and I think he could run that meeting. I think he could go in the O-line room, and I think he'd be okay. He'd go in any of the defensive rooms and even special teams. I think he'd be okay. And I think Sean McVay is the counterpoint on the other side in LA that could do the exact same thing for his club.
Yeah, and I remember thinking this, before the Seahawks actually hired Macdonald, when it was, sort of became clear that they were looking at him. I just remember kind of doing some studying on him and watching some of his press conferences, when he was the Ravens defensive coordinator, and he just struck me as a guy who seems like he would be successful no matter what he was doing. Football, like not even football. If he was doing it, in any other walk of life, in any other profession, he just seems like a guy who would figure out a way to get it done. And, I think we should zoom out too, and you kind of talked about this earlier, is you got to give the decision makers credit for this hire, especially under the weird circumstances that it came under. Remember, they did not, because there was sort of a logistical challenges of the timing of Pete Carroll's ouster. They were not able to talk to Macdonald during the Ravens bye week. They had to wait all the way until Baltimore was done in the playoffs, after they lost in, I think, the AFC Championship game, to talk to Macdonald for the first time. And in the meantime, they're interviewing other coaches. They're seeing some of those guys come off the board. I think less patient decision makers, less patient GMs and owners would say, hey, man, you got to get a guy, or else you're going to be stuck, without somebody at the end of the day. But they, had the patience to wait out Macdonald. And would have got interesting if Baltimore had won that game, because then they wouldn't have been able to talk to him for a few more weeks after that. But yeah, you got to give them some credit for just not only identifying him as the guy, but also having the patience to wait him out.
We talk a lot about alignment. I do, certainly. Alignment, right, between ownership and president and GM and head coach and quarterback, and can you have those things aligned? And I think you look around the league year after year after year, and those organizations that have it tend to be the ones that find the most success. And I think the alignment here, and I think Rich just furthers that point, as you heard him talk about Sam and talk about John and know these guys personally, is they're just real, genuine dudes. Right? And from Mike Macdonald fits right in that alignment. Chuck Arnold, the president, people don't know him a lot. He's been around a long time. A real, genuine dude. John,
started as an intern.
Genuine dude.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he just cut his teeth there and served his duties there and his time. And I mean, they're just, but you could sit with them in a bar, right? And any of those guys, from Sam to Mike to John to Chuck, and you could have a very easy conversation if you're sitting next to them on a plane. They're real people, not a lot of pretense, not a lot of phony. And I think this team, this organization, benefiting from it. You just heard Brady with some news. We'll get to further details of that and everything you need to know, the suspension, the appeal, what happened with Mr. Hall. We'll get to that and Sheil Kapadia the rest of the way here. Brady in for Salk. It's Brock and Salk.
Hey, everybody, it's Bob Stelton here along with Dave Wyman from the Wyman and Bob Show. And it's going to be tough, Dave, to top 2025. The Mariners, 8 outs away from the World Series. The Seahawks, as we sit, are the #1 seed in the NFC. How do they top that in 26?
How about Mariners to the World Series and the Seahawks win the Super Bowl in 2026? What do you think?
I can't wait. Merry Christmas to all of our listeners. Happy New Year. Have a good one, everybody.
What Bob said.
Well, you got just a little over 48 to 72 hours. Depends on when your family opens gifts. We're kind of more of a Christmas morning than we are Christmas Eve. But anyway you look at it, the time is now. The sense of urgency is now. And if any of your friends or family or heck, even yourself want something to do with fitness gifts, and you've got to go see my friends at Top Fitness. From weight sets and accessories to the complete home gym, they got you covered. They got certified pre-owned, pre-core commercial treadmills. I'm talking the same models you use in hotels and clubs, typically sell for over $13,000. Yeah, there's a few of them still available for $3,300. Look like new, come with a full warranty. Don't settle for some lightweight, cheap treadmill when you can get the real deal this good. And as always, you'll get free delivery and assembly on those treadmills, ellipticals, and exercise bikes from Precor. No secret why everybody, from personal trainers to pros, love Top Fitness. You can visit them in Tukwila, Linwood, or Bellevue, or simply go to topfitness.com for all the fitness enthusiasts on your holiday list. It's Top Fitness. You know it. Your best place for home fitness equipment.
At Sheil Company, there's no shortcuts, just craftsmanship. Because a friend wants your fine jewelry and dream engagement ring to be nothing short of perfect, no matter the price. Sheil Company, your friend and jeweler.
Breast cancer is a tough battle for anyone to fight. But when you can't work, care for your kids, or even put food on the table, that diagnosis can be devastating. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to support Northwest Hope and Healing. Our mission is to provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. For more than 25 years, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $3 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help make a difference in our community. Join us on Saturday, January 31st, for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of fine wine, gourmet cuisine, and inspiration at Mary Hill Winery in the heart of Woodinville wine country. Get your tickets now for Cork, Fork, and Support on January 31st. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Guys, if you're worn down, putting on weight, dealing with low T symptoms, or ED, something's off. Ignoring symptoms doesn't fix the real issue. For a limited time, Revive Men's Health Washington is offering free full diagnostic panels. A $400 value. It checks testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. The key areas that reveal what's driving low T, ED, and more. Plus, qualified patients get up to 25% off select treatments now through year end. This gives you a clear answer on what's off and the steps to improve it. Over 120,000 patients have trusted Revive since 2011 because the results are real. Claim your free full diagnostic panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey everyone, Bump here. If you have not seen Seattle U's men's basketball team play yet, now is your chance. See Wazoo, Gonzaga, St. Mary's take on the Redhawks at Climate Pledge. Next up are the Cougs on December 30th. Grab your tickets at GoSeattleU.com/tickets.
The home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. Touchdown! Seahawks! Ken Walker III! Get everything Seahawks at seattlesports.com.
Your old furnace ain't nice, and your toes are like ice. DayandNight.net. This month, Day and Night gives you a free furnace with the installation of an AC or heat pump.
If you're not sure your furnace will make it through another winter, call us to install a proper, long-lasting, efficient heating system backed by our lifetime workmanship guarantee, so you won't be left out in the cold.
Install an AC or heat pump and get a free furnace from Day and Night Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
DayandNight.net. With football season comes colder weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here with Keith Dashafeet from locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. So Keith, what's your next big play?
Well, Steve, right now get 40% off qualifying installs or no payments and no interest for 12 months on approved credit.
Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
As a quarterback, you cannot run a winning play with a messy playbook. And most companies' data, well, it's a mess. AI is changing the game, but if your data is scattered, you're stuck on the sidelines. Brock Heward here, and this is where my friends at Marquee Data come in. They get your data in shape, clean, connected, ready to perform, so you can finally put AI to work for your business. Whether sales, finance, or operations, every smart move starts with the right data. So head to MyDataQB.com to draw up your game-winning data play today. That's Marquee Data or MyDataQB.com.
A bases clearing, three-run double by Josh Naylor. Holy smokes!
Are you planning an event in 2026? Make it unforgettable at T-Mobile Park. Mariners suites and group tickets are perfect for any occasion. Fundraisers, school outings, work parties, family celebrations, and more. Enjoy customizable catering, flexible setups for 14 to 400 people, and epic game day views, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Get ahead and start planning your event today at Mariners.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
First thing you need to know, just minutes ago, Brady's been busy working his phone, posting stories, checking out all the news when it came to Derek Hall. Because amongst all the different injuries Thursday night, an unbelievably physical affair where both teams got knocked around a little bit. Rick Woolen left the game, and Neiman Worry left the game. Kobe Bryant, probably the most serious injury of all of those. We'll get news whether that's today or Wednesday on him. But yeah, the one kind of nugget or anecdote was like, Derek Hall suspended for what? Brady, this was not even a penalty in the game, correct?
Yeah, correct. It was not. And I didn't even know what exactly happened in real time. I remember looking up and seeing kind of the skirmish that followed. But yeah, the NFL alleges that Derek Hall unnecessarily stepped on the leg of Rams guard Kevin Dotson while Dotson was on the ground. Dotson left the game. He was carted off with an ankle injury. Now, Sean McVay said it wasn't Derek Hall stepping on him that caused that injury, but he had already been down with that injury. And I thought Derek Hall had a case for that suspension to be overturned, or at least in some way amended, after an angle kind of emerged that shows that maybe he might have just been trying to avoid getting his right ankle rolled up on, and it looked like he may have been kind of hopping out of the way. But so he appealed that suspension. That appeal was heard by Ramon Foster, and the decision came down today, or it was announced today, that the suspension was upheld. So Derek Hall is indeed going to miss that Carolina game. He'll be eligible to return to the Seahawks the following day.
We know schedule-wise what the Seahawks have got going. They'll do probably a little bonus Monday today, I'm going to guess. It's usually what coaches and places call that. I don't know how much work that will entail, but we won't get any injury updates or anything really until Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, not going to get anything till Wednesday, and I actually don't think they are going to practice. In fact, I asked Mike Macdonald on Friday if they would do that bonus Monday practice today, and he said probably not because they're going to focus on recovery. Understandably so. That was a very physical game on a short week. The defense, by the way, Brock, played 88 official snaps. That's not counting some other snaps that didn't count as official plays.
When was the last time they played 88 snaps?
I believe it was, so that was their, I want to say, according to our stats people at ESPN, that was tied for their third most defensive snaps in a game since at least 2000.
Yes.
Now they played, I think it was 90-something snaps in that overtime game against Arizona in 2016. They've been in the high 80s, but that was the second most in the game this season and the most for the Seahawks in a long time.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Well, Derek Hall, not the only suspension in the NFL. A former Seahawk probably staring down some of that news today after old DK Metcalf didn't accidentally or non-accidentally step on a lineman. No, he took a Detroit Lions fan, kind of grabbed him, and whether he punched him or he slapped him, old Ian Rappaport had a little news, not as far as the suspension, but adding some context to what in the world we saw in Detroit yesterday.
Yeah, this is something that will be investigated by the NFL and likely decided upon by the end of the day when we've seen players be suspended. Generally, it's come Monday at night, so I would say look out for that today. We've seen a couple different angles. That looks like a punch. There's another angle that looks more like a swipe. Now, the fan was quoted by, I believe it was the Detroit Free Press, saying that DK got mad because he called DK by his full name rather than just his initials. Seems like a weird thing to get mad about, but I guess anything is possible. Who knows? This will be reviewed by the NFL. If there is a suspension, then obviously DK Metcalf will not play the next game.
So a couple things along this front. The Pittsburgh Steelers leading the AFC North at 9-6 now, and a win away from clinching that division as Cincinnati and Cleveland are long been eliminated, and Baltimore last night loses. So 2 games up in the standings on those Ravens and have a chance to clinch this week, number one. Number two, Brady, where was like team personnel? The more that I look at that, and if you know DK Metcalf and you know he is a hothead and you know he runs even more hot on game day, a little surprised that the Steelers didn't have anybody around him as he goes up to a fan. And oh, by the way, some conflicting reports. I think I saw Pelissaro reporting that it was not just his name. There were some other stuff involved, which would make some more sense. But a little surprised that some Pittsburgh personnel people were not separating him or really anywhere around him in that skirmish with the fan.
Yeah, that is a good point. You got a lot of people on the sideline, and you imagine that somebody would have noticed that. Now, it's hard to know exactly how long that whole interaction lasted. We sort of, by the time the camera started getting on it, it looked like there was only, 2 or 3 seconds of an interaction, but we don't know how much there was before that. So we don't know really how much time somebody would have had to really go in there and intervene. It may have just happened too quickly, but yeah, that is not a good situation. And yeah, you are hearing some of DK Metcalf's side of it from what I can only imagine is one of his people saying that, it wasn't just the full name that guy said. You have to figure there was more to it than that. And it sounds like, at least from DK's people, there was.
Well, it started Thursday night, too, in the NFL with just the comeback train. The Seahawks double digits in the fourth quarter, come back and win. The Bears double digits in the fourth quarter, come back and win. Double digits last night. New England goes to Baltimore and wins. Bunch of big comebacks. Just a bunch of amazing, amazing stories. We'll spin around the NFL, Brady, a little bit more tomorrow. We got more time, but man, this page has turned. Some young quarterbacks are making things happen, and organizations that have been moribund for a while, turning it around. We'll get to more of that. But, man, the NFL never, ever, ever rests.
No, and Drake May, how good did he look for much of that game last night? How good of a season is he having? Getting that New England Patriots team to, 12 wins after a pretty rough season last year. Mike Macdonald's got a pretty strong case for Coach of the Year with the job he's done with the Seahawks, but so does Mike Vrabel, taking over a team that was not very good last season under Gerard Mayo, and he has got them in position for the number 1 seed in the AFC, much like Mike Macdonald, as the Seahawks in position for the top seed in the NFC.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Really good, Brady. You responded really well on the final need to know. You basically nailed it, even though the bed ran out because we talked way too much in that one, but you totally nailed it. Not your fault. How about the Mariners? Anything going to happen? Anything going to happen before Christmas or the New Year? A lot of talking, a lot of action, not a lot of finality yet, but that's okay. this team, like the Seahawks, can be patient. They got leverage. How about Geno Suarez? We all love good vibes. Maybe not as many home runs as we wanted down the stretch and into the playoffs, but there were a couple big ones in a big grand salami. Geno Suarez at all in the Mariners' plans? Here was Justin Hollander on MLB Network Radio.
Certainly a chance. We've maintained contact with Geno's reps. We love Geno. Geno brings a ton, not just on the field, the things that people see with the 49 homers, the big moments, but off the field. His steady presence, great makeup, what he brings to a clubhouse every day, it's really hard to replicate. So we've maintained contact with Geno's reps all winter long.
Yeah, I think the challenge for Geno, the equivalent in the NFL, Brady, would be like, yeah, but we got some first rounders and some young people and some rookies that we think are really good, that have really, played great in the preseason, in this case, in that analogy, in the minors, and we'd really like to give them a path and an opportunity. And we'll see. We'll see what the market does. We'll see how willing the market is to pay. Some other moves and pieces got to fall within the market before you eventually get to that conversation. I don't think he's plan A. I don't think he'd be plan B. But depending on how things go and whether or not they got to pivot, they do know Geno Suarez inside and out.
And they know him, and I'll ask you the same question I asked you earlier, is how much do you think is going to weigh into this, just the vibes and what he brings to the clubhouse in addition to the power and the production and all that?
Yeah. I think that was needed maybe a little more in the past, to be honest with you. I think more and more this will be Cal Raleigh's team. More and more this is Julio Rodriguez's team, right? More and more those are your young core. Those are your superstars. And while good vibes was incredibly important a couple years ago, and even in this playoff run to just settle things down, I think you'll point to more of the leadership coming from your young superstars than an aging veteran like Geno. That is everything you need to know. And Brady, once again, absolutely nailed it the third time around. The third time was a charm. I tried to tee up and tease Sheil Kapadia at 7:30. I failed miserably because it was actually 9:30 that Sheil was going to come on. Remember Sheil Kapadia. You can look at this two different ways. He praised the Seahawks for their defense preseason. He knew they'd be really good there. But he also thought the Seahawks were let me get his offseason, C-. A C- offseason. We may have to hold Sheil accountable for that preseason grading. We'll do it next with Brady. It's Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
4 Down Territory. Michael Bumpus answers the top 4 football questions of the day.
How will the offense get even better?
Once Torrey Horton gets back, this offense can be even better. Imagine him in this offense. That third receiver has kind of been missing. Granted, there's a lot of 2 receiver combinations out there that do play with a couple tight ends at times. And that's what's exciting about this team on both sides of the football is that offense is great, defense is great, and you still haven't had these big performances from guys who are more than capable of doing it.
Catch every 4 Down Territory on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and it's time to make the final push to the end of the year. Do you want to lose weight, improve your health, and have more energy? We have a proven system and a team of health coaches that have helped over 4,000 people in Washington lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. No gimmicks, no tricks, no drugs, just teaching you how to become a fat-burning machine and keep it off long-term. Visit eastsideweightlossclinic.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Yeah, don't wait until the new year to start. Make a big change in your life now and take advantage of their biggest sale of the year, $300 off. I used Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I lost 35 pounds in just 8 weeks. This is a plan you can definitely do around the holidays and still enjoy those delicious meals.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two, and you can do our program remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Fall rains can expose hidden roof problems, and once water gets in, the damage only gets worse. Is your roof ready for the season? Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. At State Roofing and Exteriors, we repair and replace roofs with a quality you've trusted for decades. And yes, we also provide siding, windows, decks, and gutters to keep your entire home protected. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Want more Seahawks content? Join me, G. Scott, on The Reset. New episodes of the podcast every Monday and Thursday on YouTube or on the Seattle Sports app.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Hi, I'm Lexi, your friend and jeweler at Sheil Company. We'll help you find last-minute gifts that don't look last-minute, even if you're still planning to propose. At Sheil Company, we'll show you perfect gifts at perfect prices, in stock and ready to give. Like hand-matched diamond studs, 14-karat gold chains, or the ultimate gift, a beautiful engagement ring. We have longer store hours, so you can skip the crowds and shop when you want, or visit us at shaneco.com. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Sheil Company, your friend and jeweler.
It's the best time of the year, Toyotathon. Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton are providing you with large savings and the widest selection of inventory on Toyota favorites like the 2025 Tacoma, leasing at just $259 a month with $39.99 due at signing. The 2026 Tundra, financing at 2.99% APR, up to 72 months, and $1,000 bonus cash. The gas and hybrid RAV4s and the Corolla Cross. It's Toyotathon. Whether you're in the north or the south, they got you covered. Visit ToyotaofKirkland.com and ToyotaofRenton.com. Offers valid until January 5th, 2026. Excludes taxes, titles, license, dealer accessories, and a $200 negotiable dealer documentation fee. Model 7540.
Hey, Mike Salk here. Book your stay at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel for an evening of elegance at a night at the Grand Ball. This New Year's Eve celebration includes the legendary DJ Super Sam. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This should be fun. How do I want to handle this, Brady?
Take the high road.
Do I want to handle it with class and decorum?
Yes.
High level of character. Your predecessor, you did this job. He set the table for you so you could really run with it. Or do I want to handle it like just an angry, just demanding sports radio host? Do I want to play the sound of Sheil Kapadia? Sheil, do I understand that you're there? Hello, Sheil.
I'm here. How are you guys doing? Thanks for the warm welcome.
Oh, Sheil, you told us, to be fair, you said, listen, I'll come on at the end of the year, right? Because I gave you the business. I didn't like your preseason grade of C-. You graded you graded the Seattle Seahawks a C-, Sheil Kapadia, heading into this season. In fact, if you like receipts and you like sound, I got it for you. This was you with us grading our team here in Seattle is a C-.
They had a mediocre offense last year, and they replaced Geno Smith with Sam Darnold. They replaced DK Metcalf with Cooper Kupp. They replaced Ryan Grubb with Clint Kubiak, and they add one offensive lineman who is a rookie in Gray Zabel. So that does not inspire me. As I've mentioned before, I'm giving them a C-.
You inspire now, pal? You inspire now?
I mean, that's not even among my 10 worst takes of the offseason. I mean, I am unfazed by that. Now, I was wondering, was it going to be that, or was it going to be my inspired take that the Seahawks would have the best defense in the NFL? I assume that's coming later in the show. Listen, I was wrong. There's no doubt about it. Their offense has been way better than I expected. And Sam Darnold, I thought that drive in overtime on Thursday night was, flat out the biggest possession of his career, the biggest drive of his career. Because listen, I would like to see your group chats, Brock, from when there's 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where you're saying, hey, Sheil might have been onto something there, that maybe when the rubber hits the road, the Seahawks offense isn't going to have that. But that's why they play the full 60 minutes and more than 60 minutes on Thursday night.
Brock, you ought to know better than to test a Philly guy like that. Come on, man. You know a Philly guy is going to come back with some attitude, and good for him. Good for Sheil. By the way, what's up, Sheil? Always good to talk to you. Tell me about just Sam Darnold's season in totality. He's got the 13 interceptions. I believe he is among the league leaders, if not tied for the league lead, or maybe even leading the league in total turnovers, but yet he's still getting the job done. What do you think of just the season in totality?
Yeah, I think their whole offense has been predicated on explosive plays in the passing game. I don't think they've been a great rushing team by any metric you look at, but they do run the football at a high rate, and it's all to set up the play action and hit on those explosives downfield. And he's made those plays. And so when you have a great defense like they do, I think you can play that way. And I think that's how they want to play. So I think they had a plan. I didn't see the vision, as Brock pointed out before the season, but they had the vision and it's worked out well. I think it's protected Sam Darnold. It's made up for any shortcomings they might have on the offensive line. And to be fair to Darnold, again, the run game hasn't been great. It's not like he's one of these quarterbacks where they're running the ball great and it hasn't been great. And he still had to make plays as he did in overtime. So yeah, I think you're feeling really good about it after that game last week.
Sheil, we do love you, and you did think this defense is going to be really good, and they've been, and I think exceeded, save for Thursday night. They've just been unbelievably dominant, and I am curious on this. We follow it obviously so closely, so emotionally, so passionately. The flagship of this team, and Brady in that building every single day covering the team. I'm curious from your perspective as to how you would answer this question. So you spit out the what and what they've done really well. How about the why? Why do you think this actually worked for the Seahawks in those moves that they made?
Well, I think that they knew, or they had a vision that Sam Darnold in this scheme could play as well as he did, or better than he did last year in that Viking scheme. And that's, to be quite frank, what I was skeptical of. I said, all right, I've heard some good things about Clint Kubiak, but he doesn't have the same resume as some of these great offensive coaches in the NFL. So I need to see it to believe it. And I think they looked at it and said, no, the things we're going to ask him to do, he's going to be able to do those things in this offense. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, I'm sure everybody was high on him. I'm sure they liked him. I don't know that anyone thought he was going to reach this level of wide receiver, specifically when defenses are coming in every week saying we're going to game plan for him. He's the guy we need to take away, and he's still doing it. I mean, that is the mark of a truly great wide receiver. So I think those things have come together. The offensive line has certainly improved, and it's led to this spot where, man, if you're the 1 seed in any conference in any given year, you have a great chance to get to the Super Bowl. It's such an advantage with the bye, with the home field throughout. And this, I don't know what you guys think about it. This, to me, has been maybe the weirdest NFL season in a long, long time, where I'm going into it going, I have no idea what two teams are going to be playing in the Super Bowl.
Well, kind of along those lines, I'm curious, what your power rankings look like right now, what they look like actually going into that Thursday game and what they look like now. Where do you have the Seahawks in the Sheil Kapadia power rankings?
Yeah, I think in the NFC, I feel like the Rams and the Seahawks are 1-2 in some order. Now, if you told me, hey, they're going to play on Sunday in a neutral field, who am I going to pick? I mean, I might still pick the Rams. We can't discount the first 51 minutes of that game when it looked like, oh my gosh, the Rams are certainly the better team here. Now, if the Seahawks end up getting the 1 seed and getting the bye, then I think that's going to flip it in their favor. So I think these are a huge final 2 weeks for them. So right now, I don't know if I'm avoiding the question or not. Neutral field, I would pick the Rams over the Seahawks. I just have that trust factor with the coach and the quarterback where I haven't seen Darnold do it in the playoffs yet. But if we get to the playoffs and the Seahawks have the 1 seed and the Rams are having to go on the road 3 straight weeks, then that might be enough to flip it for me.
Sheil, remind me the years you were here in Seattle doing the job that Brady does now at ESPN. What years were you here?
2015 and 2016.
So 2015 and 16, just after the Super Bowl runs.
Yes.
When you were in the building, the most electric atmosphere that you got to cover, were there any games that in any way brought you back to what you felt through your television Thursday night?
Oh my gosh, there were so many great games. You know what I thought was, and this actually wasn't in Seattle, but just in terms of quality of play and game that I'll always remember, is the Seahawks played a Sunday nighter at Foxborough, where these were 2 teams at near the peak of their powers. And if you count up the Hall of Famers in that game with Brady, with Gronk, with all the guys on the Seahawks, and it ended with Cam Chancellor making a play on Rob Gronkowski in the end zone. Because I've been asked the question before, like, what are the best games you've ever covered? And that's the one that I'm always like, man, that was just, this is elite football right here. But in terms of craziness, I'm trying to think what the craziest game was in those 2 years. And I'm old and I have kids, and so my memory is not what it used to be.
Well, they did have that
so
overtime game, that 6-6 tie that was in Arizona, but that was, I believe, in 2016.
Yeah.
Yes, I covered that one, and I remember Richard Sherman being dragged to his locker by Bobby Wagner and another teammate because he couldn't walk, because he had played every special team snap as well. So I think it was like 97 snaps he had played in that game. And so when, journalism students asked me about the NFL, I'm like, that was a glimpse of what NFL players actually go through to get through a game and get through a season. So yes, that is a vivid memory as well.
You know the voice, he is Sheil Kapadia, just a friend of the show, even though we can poke fun with one another every once in a while and maybe keep a receipt or two. Because you get to cover now things on a more national level, I kind of asked Rich Gannon a similar question last hour, Sheil. It's easy for me and Brady to say, like, oh, man, Seahawks, so many good dudes. Chuck Arnold, John Schneider, Sam Darnold, Mike Macdonald. They're just normal, good, non-pretentious, genuine human beings. Like if you saw them in the airport or you hung out with them, they're just real people. I'm curious, as you cover the league, is that the norm? Or are most organizations that way? Or are the Seahawks in some regard, from just your life experience of covering different people and different teams, kind of an outlier in that regard?
No, I think they're probably an outlier. And I don't know Sam Darnold, but viewing it from afar, I've always had the thought that no NFL quarterback is normal. You look at these, and the great ones are especially not normal. And Brock, you could probably speak to this better than I can. But it doesn't mean you don't get along with them. It doesn't mean they're good guys. But are they normal people that you could just, like you said, airport, sit down at the bar? No, these would be like some very strange guys. I think the 2 quarterbacks in the NFL right now that maybe feel normal they're actually playing each other this week. I think Bryce Young and Sam Darnold, if I did my normal rankings, that, hey, these guys actually seem like not robots, not the most arrogant people in the world, just kind of like, hey, they would sort of be fun to be around. Again, I don't know Darnold, but from afar, you see him interact with teammates, what people say about him, even when he wasn't playing well and, was viewed as a bust, it still seemed like people liked him, with the Jets. And so, yeah, I do think it probably is a bit of an outlier there for that, if nothing else.
Hey, Sheil, I want to ask you about Clint Kubiak and what you think his chances are of, getting involved, getting some looks in this head coaching cycle. Because on one hand, I look at him and say, this is everything that every NFL team is looking for right now. A young guy with ties to all the West Coast system head coaches, and he's coordinating one of the better offenses in the NFL right now. Also has the lineage with his dad. He's also a very low-key guy, and I wonder how that's going to play in interviews. What's your sense of how much kind of involvement he's going to have in this head coaching cycle?
Yeah, I like that you brought up that he's a low-key guy, because you see some of these lists that circulate in the national arena now. And just to take people behind the scenes, there are very powerful coaching agents in the NFL who have a way to get their guys' names on certain lists. So if you're ever reading a list going, how in the world is this guy being mentioned as an NFL coaching? It's probably, what is happening there. But I think Kubiak has a very good shot, to get a head coaching job. I don't think it's a really strong group of coaching candidates this last offseason. You could say, all right, Ben Johnson, there's a great case for him. Mike Vrabel, there's a great case for him. You could name 3 or 4 guys that you say, hey, it might not work out. It's hard to predict, but these are very good candidates. And it's hard to find those guys this year, in my opinion. When you just look at around the league and say which coaches are doing more with less. And I think he falls into that category. I always do my rules for hiring a head coach, and I'm always careful. Like, I would never hire a guy who had success with like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't say never, but if like that's the best thing you did, it's like, all right, I think those guys were going to be okay regardless. But to come into this situation with a new quarterback, with some questions on the offensive line, with one great wide receiver, and to do this, that at least is proof of concept to me that, hey, he has done it when maybe the circumstances haven't been perfect. So yeah, I think he'll certainly get interviews. And I don't know, maybe a toss-up 50-50 chance whether he actually gets that head coaching job.
I would weigh in on that and just say that the NFL is so biased in the present. And the present is Mike Vrabel, Mike Macdonald, defensive guys that have just elevated their programs, right? And a couple years ago, it was all offensive guys, and you got to have that offensive wizard. I think the Brian Floreses, the Robert Salas, the Chris Shulas, I think you're going to see just
Jesse Minter.
Just the prisoner of the moment. Like, I need to play defense. I need elite defensive guys to shut down and disrupt offenses, and, watching Vrabel and McDonald and those guys do it. So along those lines, Sheil, if you had a Coach of the Year vote, who are your top 3?
Coach of the Year. Okay, see, I did this a couple weeks ago, and now I have to change it. So let me look here. Let me take a look here at the
keep
standings.
Receipts, so make sure you get this right. So we keep receipts here on this show.
That's right. I'm looking at it now, and I think Liam Cohen has to be on the list with the way the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing right now. They're 11-4. I think that Trevor Lawrence is playing the best football of his career, so he's going to be on the list. Ben Johnson is going to be on the list. I actually think Ben Johnson would get my vote if I had to pick a guy right now, with some of the skeletons of that franchise and how long it's been and the way he came in, and they're 11-4 and got Caleb Williams to play at that level. And you know what, Brock? Because you struck a little fear in my heart. You intimidated me. You stuffed me into the locker. Yes. And so I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going Mike Macdonald on the top 3. You're not keeping this receipt where you're calling me back in February and they're playing in the Super Bowl and you go, Sheil, after week 16, you didn't even have him on your top. Nope, not happening. Listen, I learned my lesson. I'm not new to the content game. And so Mike Macdonald, congratulations. You're on my top 3 list.
What an honor. Folks
in Boston are screaming at you right now. Are you serious? Look at what Vrabel has done with their young organization and first year coming in. And it is remarkable if you to look maybe preseason, right? To your point of kind of preseason expectations. And you said at the start of the show to Brady and I, isn't this NFL nuts this year? I mean, look at last year's playoffs. There's going to be no Washington, likely no Detroit. There's going to be no Minnesota. We'll see what happens with Green Bay. There's going to be no Kansas City, likely no Baltimore. I mean, this has been, I know there's turnover, Sheil, every year, right? Every year there's a couple surprises in the playoffs. But in your years of covering the NFL, have you ever seen it turn on its head like this?
I have not. And I think, if you look at hey, what's going to happen the next 10 years, how many years will there be a playoffs where there's no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, and no Joe Burrow? I mean, there might not be one in the next 10 years. So I think the AFC teams, they're feeling a lot of pressure. A guy like Josh Allen's probably feeling a lot of pressure. Like, man, I've been so close, and this isn't even my best Bills team, but we have a real chance to get to the Super Bowl here. And then you have all these other teams where it feels like you're a team on the rise. A team like the Broncos where they say, hey, this is the start of something. It might be the start of something. It might also be your best chance ever to get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl because of how unique this year is. And then all the teams in the NFC. I mean, really, I look at the NFC playoffs right now, And other than the winner of the NFC South, I would not be surprised if you told me any of those teams are playing in the Super Bowl. Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, Rams, 49ers. You tell me any of those. I think all those teams actually have a chance to get there to the Super Bowl. So, yes, it has been totally wild. Where every preseason I go, all right, let me find 3 new playoff teams in the AFC, 3 new playoff teams in the NFC. And you do that exercise in August, and it's really hard. You go, no, I can't. It's too hard. And then you get to January every year, and you go, oh, yep, it happened again. But to this degree, I think almost all new division winners this year, I think maybe except for the NFC East. So it's been wild.
Sheil, I told Brock before we got you on the air that I am going to be forever grateful for you for the decision you made to go back home to Philadelphia, because you had the job that I currently have before me, and you were doing such a good job in that role that you would have had it for as long as you wanted it. So thank you for deciding to go back home, which leads me to my question about the Eagles, the team in your hometown. What is going on there? That just strikes me as a team that looks like with this core, they're always going to be in it because they've got so much talent, but there's always going to be questions about whether or not it's going to come crumbling down, because there seems like there's so much volatility with that team right now. What's your thought on the Eagles and their chances of making it to the Super Bowl?
Well, first of all, Brock, I don't know how to take that sort of, was that a compliment? I hung out with Brady almost every day. We sat next to each other in the Seahawks media room. I thought we had a great friendship, and he's like, thank you for leaving and being out of my life. I don't know how am I supposed to take
leaving
that?
me. It's opening up the job for me to take it.
It's great to not see you every day. No, I'm just kidding, Brady.
100% genuine. We did sit next to each other in the media room, by the way.
Yeah, great times. I love that Seahawks media room. We had a great time for 2 years. I think the Eagles are a flawed team. It usually doesn't look right, and they almost never lose. That's how I would describe them. Where, you look at like Nick Sirianni's record and Jalen Hurts' record, and they're 10-5 this year, and they're the only repeat division winner. So I think their defense is really good. I look at Houston, the Seahawks, and the Eagles as probably the 3 defenses I'm going to trust the most when it gets to the playoffs. And offensively, it hasn't looked good. There's no doubt about it. Their offensive line isn't as good. I think some of Jalen Hurts' limitations have been shown this year. Their run game hasn't been as good. The scheme is not great. So it's just a very up and down team where you look at it and say, can they figure it out in the playoffs and kind of go on a heater or do enough offensively? And I would say I'm leaning towards that probably not being the case, but they still have a lot of talent. And so there's always a chance with that pedigree, with the way they played in the playoffs last year, that they have a chance. But defense, trust them. Offense, you just don't know what you're going to get week to week.
Okay, Sheil, final 30 seconds to minute here. Do the Seahawks have any chance to win a Super Bowl? Just go ahead and say they don't. Just
any chance? Of course, you're not going to do like, how the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to go, we don't get any respect. I'm like, yeah, well, I haven't. That's true. I haven't really respected the Jacksonville Jaguars, so you can put me in your social media clip. No, I'm telling you, it's such an advantage, the 1 seed and getting that bye and playing at home, and they need to hold on to that the last 2 weeks. And if they do that, I think we might go into the playoffs and say they're the favorites, or certainly them and the Rams. I've had those 2 in the same kind of tier here. Darnold's going to have to prove it in the playoffs. I will say that if you need some bulletin board material, Brock, he has to prove it in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it, but they are very well positioned here going into the final 2 weeks.
There you go. You heard it, folks. He doesn't believe in the Seahawks. He doesn't believe in Sam. You heard it right there from Sheil. Actually, you heard the opposite. Sheil, you're the absolute very best. You've got a joy. Never lose it in covering these teams and covering this league. It's always a blast and pleasure to have you on, man. Thank you for your time, as always, my friend.
All right. Great to see you guys. Talk to you soon.
See you, Sheil.
There you go, Sheil Kapadia. He does such an awesome job. And you're right, Brady. The only reason you're here, heck, maybe the only reason you're filling in today is because he said, you know what, I got to go back home and closer to my roots. It is a wild year. Just remember this, as Sheil said, if the playoffs go through Seattle, it's happened 3 times. 2005, 2013, and 2014. And what happened all 3 times, Brady?
They made it to a Super Bowl.
That the Super Bowl has to go through the old Lumen Field or CenturyLink Field back in the day, or Quest Field. I think even before then in January. That's not easy sledding for anybody. And I would concur with Sheil, and you said this earlier in the show. Like, man, that building Thursday night was absolutely electric. And, I felt like it'd be a turning point. It'd be the kind of game that would just turn this whole community back on to say, hey, hold on a second. This is real. This is real. And these playoffs have a real shot of actually coming through Seattle. Pretty neat stuff.
That's right. And they are winning at home again. Remember, there was that conversation about what happened at the home field advantage. By the way, since I wrote that story, they are 5-0 at home, so you can thank me for that. As we hear the music, as we get Michael Bumpus walking in the room right now, Charles is looking at me like, what the hell are you doing?
Don't point at him. Yeah. You don't point at Charles. You only point at Charles and need to know. I got to figure out to get more Charles. Text Toys right. Tomorrow, Charles filling in again. I'll be producing. Charles will be on the board. Brady will be right back in that seat. I'll be here. And I got to figure out a way to get a little more of Charles on the show tomorrow. We will have a lot of Matt Hasselbeck, the entire 7:30 segment with Matt. I saw him at a wedding a couple weeks ago. He likes the Seahawks. We'll dig into a lot of conversation with him for Sheil Kapadia, for Rich Gannon, for Brady, for Charles, for Lyle, for all of you listening here on Christmas week. Thank you. In the hay for this day, Mr. Henderson?
In the barn.
Get to the chopper!
Hey, it's Stacey Ross.
What's up? It's Michael Bumpus.
Of Bump and Stacey, obviously. And we just want to wish you guys happy holidays and thank you all for sticking with us in 2025.
2025 has been crazy. Let's have a better 2026.
So from all of us at the Bump and Stacey Show, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
2026, you have some big shoes to fill, and we can't wait. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Seattle Sports.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
It's a cold winter night and your furnace dies. Don't let this happen to you. If your system's 12 years or older, upgrade now to a Mitsubishi electric heating and air conditioning system from Home Comfort Alliance and stay warm. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings of new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
Step into Seahawks game day at the Pro Shop, where the roar of the 12s begins. And official Seahawks gear is always within reach.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
This is the Pro Shop. Visit the official store of the Seattle Seahawks, located at Lumen Field and the Landing in Renton.
Thank you to all of our great Cairo News Radio listeners.
This is the moment.
For making the 37th year of Holiday Magic our biggest one yet.
It is a celebration that benefits Treehouse.
Thanks to your generosity and the important work of Treehouse, kids in foster care will have the holiday they wished for.
We ask you to give. You do. You always come through.
You can still donate. Just head to mynorthwest.com/holidaymagic.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account.